Jubilee celebrations are continuing across the country. Everyone's eyes, of course, are on today's service at St Paul's. Harry and Meghan are publicly reuniting with Kate and William for the first time. And it's funny, Jane, I took your recommendation last night and watched the BBC...
Elizabeth, the Unseen Queen.
Yeah. And so I was getting a bit romantic about the whole thing, seeing these old home movies and stuff, and I was thinking about Harry and Meghan. Alone in a hotel room.
As you do.
It's getting a bit weird, this now, isn't it? I thought, you know what? I really think they should all just patch it up. And obviously we cannot control what they do behind closed doors, but I think the country should patch it up. The whole Harry and Meghan thing, it's got so bloomin' messy, hasn't it? So here they are, they're back on British soil. I think we should have a royal reset. Are you with me?
What does that look like? What does a royal reset with the public look like?
Well, it just got so febrile, the whole thing about Harry and Meghan analysing their every move, and people have been very cynical about them. I don't actually have a view on them. When I say I don't care about them, I don't mean that in a mean way, but they're just not a big deal for me, personally. But I think it all got scratchy and nasty and unpleasant, and I think we should say, water under the bridge, let's let them start again. Jane, why are you looking at me like that?
Well, I think as long as they get the same memo.
Oh.
Because it's not like they haven't had their say about their life back here.
Yeah.
So I think as long as they get the same memo, I would hazard a guess that behind the scenes there has already been a massive reset. And you say about that documentary, and you suddenly realise the royals behind the scenes have a life that none of us know about.
Amazing.
I mean, it looked charming. All the parents were heavily involved. Exactly. Fun, dancing, all of the things that we don't see the Queen doing, just being completely relaxed. And so I think behind the scenes they're probably all completely fine now. But, you know, I think that because they did do quite a lot of sort of interviews and outspoken things about life in Britain and how they didn't like it anymore, the British public do feel slightly aggrieved. They do feel, well, you didn't want us, we don't want you.
Yeah. But there's two sides to the family, isn't there? There's the private side and then there's the very public side. So there's the business front and then there's the what goes on. So the reset that you talk about would be brilliant if you could have it on both camps, but actually we will only be able to see what we see on that balcony. You know, when they all step out, you're always just going to see.
Well, of course, they weren't on the balcony, and that was the big question. Do you think it would have been good if they had been on the balcony?
No, I think it was meant to be about the Queen, and it should be really the focal point should only ever be about the Queen. We don't need to pull focus. This is such an auspicious occasion, and there's not that much room on these balconies. Look at the size.
They were very clever with that, though, weren't they? By saying working royals, and so that worked really well. So that was a very elegant get out for why, you know, Andrew wasn't there, Harry and Meghan weren't there.
Well, no, Andrew wasn't there because he had COVID.
Oh, indeed.
But he probably also wouldn't have been on the balcony because he isn't a working
He's not, so that was nice. But I suppose it actually does mirror a lot of our own experiences. You've got a big family event, it's a wedding or whatever. There's always that question, isn't it? You know, does Auntie Maud get
Only
invited?
people with an R in their name could come to my wedding.
There is a line.
There is a line. How did you do it with your wedding?
Well, you know what? I shared a little secret earlier that I'm going to now share.
Regret.
When we had numbers, we had really tight numbers for our wedding, and, you know, the last 10 seats we did draw out of a hat and tell our friends, about 25 of them, if your name comes out the hat, you're invited. And I think sometimes in families, maybe instead of making it personal...
Yeah.
No, it was real. It was all above board. But you wouldn't do that for the Queen's balcony.
Look at her face
Can you
now.
imagine? The Queen. No, not you.
You're in.
As my old grandma used to say, and the band played, believe it if you like.
Well, I mean, it is hard, though. You like to disinvite somebody. Well, you wouldn't disinvite somebody, but sort of...
Yeah, we've had lots of that. I mean, my wedding was the same. There are just situations that you get into where the numbers are the numbers, and at some point you have to make that decision. We've got lots of that going on in our family at the moment because one of our family are about to get married, and it's lots of, you know, do we ask this person, do we not? But at the end of the day, I always think it's their day and they're the ones that have got to decide.
Oh, no, but you can live with the results of that, can't you? I mean, I suppose that's why some people just have huge weddings. They just get bigger and bigger and bigger because they can't actually have that conversation.
Yeah.
Well, we're not inviting that side of the family.